Hello everybody, this is a quick vlog today. Nice simple video, nice simple edit, and I just want to talk about the vlogging space and being a YouTuber and reviewing bikes. I've been doing it for probably 3 years now, and I did have a channel before this one, before Exeter Rider, which I got rid of because it was just rubbish. But I had bikes on there like the CB 500F, CB 1000. Yeah, I had quite a few bikes on there, but I got rid of it and started the Exeter Rider channel. Now, one of the common questions people ask me, and certainly the new sort of YouTubers, they say, how do you get the bikes? There's no hard and fast answer to that, really. I think really that it is all about relationship building, really, with dealers, and yeah, it's just knowing the right people quite often, and building trust as well, of course. Oh, that's a nice old bus there. It's old Route Master, I think. Oh no, it's not. Whatever it is. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it takes time. It's not easy getting bikes. I may make it look easy, but you know, I have to be careful what I say here. But some of the dealers, they could not give a hoot about you. They really couldn't. And a lot of dealers don't understand the benefit of what they can get out of you know, a video that I make, which I find quite frustrating. There's some people say that well, how can you find out a bike and how can you call it a review when you only get the bike for, you know, a few hours? Well, some people say an hour. I've never had a bike to review for an hour. I just wouldn't call it a review because I don't think you can call it a review. A perfect example of that, which really annoyed me at the time, was I went down to the Zero day where Zero had their mobile sort of test days where you can try out some Zero bikes. And I went down there, and you know, they were sort of saying, yeah, you can have it for a while, no problem at all. I said, oh, you know, I need it for about an hour or whatever. Anyway, long story short, I got down there and I said, oh, I'll just take it down to down by the seafront and all that. And he said, oh, I don't know if you've got time for that. I said, well, I've got it for a while, haven't I? And I said, oh, no, well, it's just literally around the block for the test rides for a maximum of 15 minutes. And me being me, inside I was raging because I had set up all the cameras and got everything ready to go. And you can't review a bike, of course you can't, in, you know, 15 minutes. I mean, that's pathetic. I've found them a little bit difficult to work with, actually, Zero themselves. I don't really think they're set up or interested in letting vloggers have the bikes. It's more like the, you know, English Electric Company and places like that, the dealers, so to speak, that morally take that on board. So yeah, so if I call it a test ride, then it is exactly that. It's normally for a ride for no more than an hour. And to be honest, they're nice to make because they're easy and well, they're just easy to make. You just film it. There's no drive-by shots and things like that. It's a piece of cake. And I've done a lot of test rides. I don't know when this video's going out. It's September now, so this might be going out in January. I don't know. I've got a lot to get out at the moment. But yeah, even in September, I've got, like, I don't know, I've got reviews going right up to Christmas time. So, well, and beyond, actually, probably mid-January, which is good peace of mind. It's not easy. It is very, very difficult in many ways doing reviews. I mean, I've had the last 2 months off, which has cost me money, of course. You know, I make very little out of this. Very little. In fact, I don't make anything if you add up what you put into it, and the cost of the cameras and things like that. You don't really make it. I'm not really at the stage where I'm making a profit at the moment. it's very tough, and you're away from your family, you sacrifice time with your kids, and yeah, it's not easy to do, but I do it. Why do I do it? You know, the amount of videos that I've made, when part of the video I say to myself, I always cut it out of course, but I always say to myself, why the F am I doing this? Quite often, and it does feel like that. But, and it's not much fun actually riding the bike and doing a review, believe it or not. It's when you get home and do the editing, you think, oh, actually it's alright, it's not too bad, it's quite a good video. That's where the buzz is from it. But yeah, going back to the you know, where I do get a bike for normally 3 hours, it's a minimum. It's very difficult, it's very intense. I can't tell you how intense it is. You know, not only hoping that you plugged in your mic, but pulling over and getting the drive-by shots, you know, safely. I can't tell you how difficult it is. And while you're going through all the techie side and all that side of it, you've also got to make sure, you know, your senses are on fire. You know, you're feeling what the seat's like. How's it going to feel in an hour's time? You know, what the switch gear is like, how the handlebars, are your shoulders reaching forwards, the peg height, are your feet comfortable? Is it an off-road bike? So you've got to check out for the ground clearance and the ease of use. Has it got a 19-inch width? It goes on and on and on. And in fact, most of my reviews, you know, you have to do all this, but you have to keep the video no more than 20 minutes long. That is one of the hardest parts of editing, is trying to keep the time down, because as soon as it goes over 10 minutes really, then you're going to have people dropping off, which isn't good for your YouTube stats at all. I hope I'm getting everything out here, because there's so much to go through on this subject. Next common question is, and I get this quite a lot, what happens when there's bits you don't like about a bike, or you don't like a bike? Well, first of all, as many have said to you, there's no such thing as a bad bike. First of all, it is all subjective. You know, what I like, you may not like. I'm on the Sinisterrain 380 at the moment. Me and this bike really don't get on. We don't get on at all, unfortunately, to say the least. But as I'd said in my review, what you have to do, what I do, is there are good points about this bike, such as the way it leans in and turns, it's good off-road, etc, etc. So you just got to balance out the good stuff, which you can always find something good, with the bad stuff. And often, you know, most of you know what I'm like. If I find a bike which is really good, I'm normally bouncing around the walls, you know, telling you about it. You can really tell that I've got that energy, that this is really good, this really is a good bike. That's what I'm like, you know, that's my nature, that's what I'm like. Whereas when it's a bad bike, you'll notice that the review is a little bit flatter, and or a bike you don't get on with, it's a bit flatter, such as my CB500X review. It's a brilliant bike, you know, many people like it, but for me it was maps wrong. I just didn't, you know, if you could put the CB500X next to the 500F, same engine, same bike, different engine mapping, it's utterly different. And that's what I wanted. I wanted the 500F engine in the X, and that's why I didn't buy one. I was out to buy one at one point. And again, in my review, you'll find that I ended up saying about the 750X having my name written all over it, and wasn't that true? So, oh, totally forgot where I am now. But yeah, so what would I do if I ever got given a bike which I hated? And I'll tell you an example of that. When I took out the Royal Enfield Classic 500, I didn't like the look of it. It was the only one available on that particular day. I can't remember why now. I think the other bikes were out or something. And CMS kindly said to me, "Oh, do you want to take that out?" And I was like, I didn't really know. I didn't want to be rude and say, "No, it's not my bag at all." But anyway, I took it out, and within 5-10 minutes, I loved it. I absolutely loved those classic 500s. And again, it was very high on my to buy list as well, because I liked it so much. But in my head, when I first got on the bike, before I even started it up and got going, in my head I was thinking, you know what, and this is a long answer to the question basically, but my thoughts were that I'm just going to take, I'm going to go around the block, take the bike back and just say, really sorry, I just can't review this bike because I just don't like it. And that is the truth of it. I think if I had a bike which I really didn't like, then yeah, I would just hand the keys back and say, sorry, it's not for me, take it back. As I say, me and the Sinus 380 have struggled a little bit getting along, mainly because of the short gearing and semi-flat engine and the back suspension, but there are still some good points about it, so I hung on to this one. But that is just my opinion. Other people might ride it and might think, well, it's not a bad bike actually, and I would encourage that. On these reviews, it's just our opinion. But quite often, for example, people who ride a Honda NC750X, you normally are in the same bubble. What bike would suit people who's got a Honda NC750X or a BMW 850R like I've got? Well, you normally got a lot in common when it comes to what bikes you like. So yeah, where am I with that? How long have I been chatting for? Got to try and keep this video short and sweet. Yeah, so as I say, what you'll find as well, another important point I wanted to make, is that like anyone else, you can normally get on a bike and within, if you drive it like 100 metres or a mile down the road, us lot, and much like yourself, will normally find out whether you like that bike within that time. That is the truth of it. People say you can't tell what a bike is like, in such a short time. That's not true. It's and certainly now that I've had loads of experience with different bikes, I can literally get on a bike and ride it probably 10 meters and get a view of it, of what I like. And even with the long termers that I'm lucky to have now, I've met a lot of people from the manufacturers and the distributors, and most of them are all really, really good people. You would have thought they might be these people that are, competitive and corporate and things like that, but a lot of the time they're not. They're just normal, nice people. And getting the long-term bikes, there's no doubt about it, it is a wonderful thing, because it takes the pressure off. You can film it, if it's raining one day, you can wait and film it another day, and you can give the bikes more as well. They more credit, and the credit that they deserve. Often I don't find anything different about a bike having it long term than what I do within an hour. That's something that I've learnt myself. I thought I was going to get these long-term bikes and think, well, by the end of it I'm going to find out so much more. But in fact, I found that not to be the case. I found out that I can pretty much nail down a bike within an hour. Same as this. I rode it up the road, and again, it's just not for me. And I knew within literally riding it up the road and chucking it into fifth gear by the time I got to the end of the road, that it's not a bike I personally would buy. And but it is a bike that a lot of other people would buy who like doing adventure riding and a bit of off-roading and things like that. So have I covered it all? I should make a list, shouldn't I? But yeah, I mean, it's not. None of it is easy. It honestly isn't. And I've only just talked about getting on the bikes and doing the reviews. I mean, obviously you've got to get home then, and then you've got all the editing to do, which I kind of enjoy. But the thing is with me is that I wanted to make my reviews my own. And so I do the ride-by shots, I do the walk-arounds, which are normally sometimes quite funny in places. It's given me a couple blooper videos, of course. But I like doing that because I've made it my own. I want to make it my own. I want to be in front of the camera. I want to show you this. Yeah, I could walk around like this and, you know, tell you about the spec and this, that and the other. No doubt about it, it's a piece of cake when you do it like that. So why complicate it? Well, I just complicate it because I like doing it like that. I just want a more interesting, more involved video. And yeah, it seems to work for me. Cool, big old lorries, aren't they? A lorry come over there, that's why all that brickwork is done there, because he couldn't get around the corner. Oh my god. This is scary. But yeah, so the little lorry done that a little while ago, couldn't get around the corner and went straight, knocked all those bricks in the water. Poor chap. Just too oh, watch that car. Scary. Anyway. Sorry, distracted. So yeah, none of it is easy. It's really hard. It's really, really hard getting the bikes, and quite often when you pick them up, you just, you know, they couldn't give a monkeys. And quite often, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them, you just, you know, there's no sort of like, oh, thanks, how are you? No, it's just, I don't know. It's just the way it is. But the long term is, you know, having those relationships with the different brands, whether it's, you know, Honda or Sinis or who else is there? Harley. They're another good bunch. You know, it's totally different. Having a long time is good. I can get better videos out of it, which will create more sales. And I do want to do that. I do want to sell these bikes. You know, I'll be honest about them, but at the same time, if they're good, then I really want them to sell for the dealer's sake, because they are good enough to let me have the bikes. So I'm going to leave it there. I think I've bleated on long enough now. So thank you very much for watching, and very much appreciated. Sorry it's a long video again. How am I going to cut all that? I want to tell you all that information without going on too much, but it has gone on too much, so just the way it is. But thanks for watching, and from me and the Fisherman's Cot in Bickley, Devon, I'll see you next week, Monday at 4 PM. Thank you very much for watching.